These sophisticated encryption strategies protect data and accounts. While the situation is in access issues and not an issue of account security, it's always important to remember that to protect yourself by not sharing personal or financial information on any non-secure sites. The bank also stated that the cybersecurity analysis said that an Iranian group called Izz al-Din al-Zaquami cyber fighters carried out this attack. At any rate, this is just a second phase of a wave of attacks that's underway and has been going on for several weeks. The same group has targeted J.P. Morgan Chase & Company, the Bank of America, Citigroup, Citibank, Wells Fargo & Company, U.S. Bancorp, the aforementioned PNC Financial Services Group, BB&T Corporation, SunTrust Banks, and Regions Financial Corporation. One cyber forensic specialist who spoke on condition of anonymity said the Al-Qassam cyber fighters claim to be a group of private hackers, but their activities appear state-sponsored. Except for the statements, they have no presence, and it feels much more like state-sponsored action, meaning backed by the Tehran regime. And the specialist also said that the Iranian officials have been quoted in state-run press accounts as promising to conduct cyber attacks against the United States and other Western states in retaliation for cyber attacks against Iran's nuclear program. The hackers can move up to 70 gigabytes of data per second at their targets, and they have been detected renting botnets. Those are collections of robot computers used to conduct the attacks. Basically what they do is they constantly bombard over and over again. Blah, blah, blah. Just hit it, hit it, hit it, hit it. At any rate, the attacks are called distributed denial of service attacks and use hijacked computers that are networked to conduct mass numbers of login attempts at the banking websites. One malicious technique used by the group is server administration access software that has been linked to the attacks. Denial of service attacks have been used by sophisticated cyber warfare units to conduct cyber espionage and cyber reconnaissance. Potentially more destructive techniques than just denying service. 10 major U.S. banks were hit by the cyber attacks in September during the first wave of attacks. Around the time the attacks were detected, the Pentagon's Joint Chief of Staff stated in a report that the cyber attacks on financial institutions were Iranian-backed aggression. Iran's cyber aggression should be viewed as a component alongside efforts like support for terrorism to the larger covert war that Tehran is waging against the West. That report was dated September 14th. The Treasury Department also stated in February that Iran's Ministry of Intelligence and Security, the civilian spy agency, has assisted the terrorist group Hezbollah with multiple joint projects in computer hacking. Now, the long and short of that is, Iran, and we've known it since September of last year, since February of last year, is actively conducting acts of aggression towards the U.S. financial system. They have promised publicly to retaliate against us and Israel and England and Canada and Australia, those just by name, and other various Western states, because they were unhappy with attempts at hacking their nuclear program. We're going to go ahead and take a commercial break early because now we're going to move to the third news story of this particular broadcast, and this is the one that we need to pay the most attention to. It's that important. So please, come right back. We'll be right back. Ladies and gentlemen, we are back with Tap Into the Truth, and tonight's broadcast is America going to war with Iran. We've already documented the fact that it seems as if Iran's already at war with America. They certainly have promised it, as well as promising to wipe the Zionist state from the face of the earth. That would be Israel, for those of you who aren't keeping score. The current occupier has certainly done more than his fair share to embolden Iran, trying to offer them an olive branch at every offering. But the time for peacemaking may well be over. There's a report surfacing today, and originally published on January 1st by WND.com, that Iran's nuclear bomb program is complete. According to the report, Iran successfully has built a nuclear bomb with the help of Russia and North Korea, and has enough weapons-grade uranium and plutonium for more. According to a source in the Revolutionary Guard's intelligence unit, the source, who has access to Iran's nuclear program, said the Islamic regime is working out of 7 nuclear sites, most unknown to the IAEA, and that its nuclear bomb program is complete. North Korea has provided the regime with plutonium for nuclear warheads, the source verified, and the last obstacle to overcome is arming missiles with those warheads. The source, who revealed the existence of the regime's microbial plant and its effort on biological weapons, as published back on January 1st, now has provided information on 2 of the 7 secret sites. The source went on, and the article went on to name the locations. However, WND will soon publish information on the second secret nuclear site, which has direct Russian participation involving laser technology for uranium enrichment. The first site mentioned, according to the source, expands on the activity at Iran's previous secret site in Fordo, about 80 miles away from that site. When the existence of the first site was revealed in September of 2009, much of the nuclear bomb research and equipment was later transferred to the new site. The new site is in the belly of a mountain, and they believe it to be immune to airstrikes. It has 3 levels accessible by 3 elevators. The first level is security, where personnel check in. They also have to check their cell phones, arms, and any other items can be confiscated. IDs are checked, and passage is allowed. The second level houses the centrifuges, and the third level is the lab, where the work's ongoing on both the uranium and the plutonium bombs. The uranium enrichment on the second level is in 2 phases. The first phase has 8 cascades of centrifuges into which uranium hexafluoride gas has been fed for enrichment. The second phase has 12 cascades of 6 already operational and 6 more being readied. The planning of the site was approved under former President Mohammad Khatami, but the project was approved by the current president, Mahmoud Ahmadinejad, and completed over 2 years ago. Several high-powered towers visible in images have been installed near the site to provide much-needed electricity for the centrifuges. The imagery clearly shows some kind of highly sensitive and fortified installation supporting a deep underground facility inside the mountain, stated Dr. Peter Vincent Pry, a former CIA analyst and executive director of the Task Force on National and Homeland Security. That's an advisory board to Congress. He also is quoted as saying the external facility has a huge security gate and guard post. The entire installation is surrounded by miles of deep trench and berm, like a medieval fortress, with modern security fences and guard posts. Also went on to say, and there are clearly two enormous underground entrances surmounted by a building that may power elevator shafts, escalators, or a subway to the underground complex inside the mountain. He also went on to say that of particular interest are the high-tension power lines at the facility. Quote, whatever's going on inside needs a lot of electricity. Chemical and biological weapons programs have very modest power needs compared to nuclear weapons. The nuclear weapons programs, which consume enormous amounts of electricity. And Price said that Russia, China, and North Korea seem to be helping. Excuse me. Okay. Russia, China, and North Korea are helping Iran's nuclear and missile programs, and that is probably no accident that Iran's underground facilities closely resemble those countries' setups, which were intended to deceive the West during and even after the Cold War. The discovery of previously unknown underground facilities of such size and potential significance in Iran is further proof that the U.S. is probably underestimating the advancement and sophistication of Iran's nuclear weapons program. The present policy of negotiation until Iran is caught red-handed moving towards nuclear weaponization is a policy doomed to fail. Probably already has failed inside one of Iran's underground nuclear installations. There are 60 personnel working at this one site that they talk about in the article, with 4 Russian and 3 North Korean scientists helping the Iranian scientists. There are 2 missile sites in the vicinity of the nuclear site, and they are hidden underground to protect the site from an airstrike as well. There are currently more than 2,000 centrifuges and enriching uranium at the facility, with more to be operational shortly. With the failure in 3 rounds of talks since last April between the world powers over this illicit nuclear program, and the regime's defiance in stopping its enrichment and in preventing the International Atomic Energy Agency from inspecting suspected sites, the West is running out of options. The source also added that he said that he believes the regime that ultimately America will have no choice but to accept a nuclear-armed Iran. Back in October, WND ran an article that the regime scientists at another secret site were working on a neutron detonator for a nuclear weapon and warhead designed for ballistic missiles. The article finishes by stating that any reporters wanting to interview this particular source on the issue should send an email to media@wnd.com. So, if any of you are interested in that, I suggest you check that out. In the meanwhile, what does this mean? We have in one news story an editorial coming from a Russian newspaper, the major premier